Hour number 3 rolling along right here on the early line. Having some fun, but we hit a lot of topics here. But you know, one of the biggest topics coming up is going to be the NFL draft, and we got a surprise for you. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Raineri, and the big man, big man in the middle is Tanor Bortolini, Wisconsin Badger offensive lineman. Now let's get this out here. 6'4", 303, 1,900 snaps, probably played a little jump around in the background. And my goodness, Joe, take a look at the lettuce from my guy here. You got an offensive line that's looking that sweet this morning. We're ready to go. Tanor, what's up, man?
Doing well, guys. How are you?
Doing fantastic, ready to rock and roll. We know you got a big process ahead of you here that, quite frankly, has already started. I'm always fascinated by this. After you get done with the season for the Badgers, what happens? What is the pre-draft process that you went through so far, Tanor?
So I went to the Sports Academy in Frisco, Texas. So immediately after the season, head straight there, start training right away. It's about 3 times a day, every day. So it gets pretty long. It's a grind, but really enjoyed it. Then you obviously go to the Senior Bowl after about a month and a half of training, play the game, then do really combine prep for another month, and then have the combine, and then had another couple weeks of that same combine training and do pro day, and now just getting ready to play football again, which is really exciting.
It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be, right? You go from the season, right, to bowl. Now you got Senior Bowl. Now you got it. So at what point do you start getting maybe a little overwhelmed with it? Because even when the season's over, you know what's coming up for you, didn't you?
Yeah, I think probably that 2 or 3 weeks right before the combine, it really starts to get like, wow, this has been a long time. You know, you're sitting there, you're training 6 times a week, every week, not really doing much outside of that. And it kind of starts to catch up with you at that point. But really just kind of make sure you stay locked in. You're really right there. You're about to cross the finish line, just making sure you get to the finish line. So that's all it really was. And then now you get a little more time to kick back, relax, reset, and then head back into the draft, obviously, coming up, and then rookie minicamp.
Tanor, everybody knows when you think about college football in the ground game, it's Wisconsin that comes to your mind and the dominance that they have at the offensive line. Talk to us how you made your way to Wisconsin here.
Yeah, so growing up, I grew up in a small town out of Wisconsin, so started getting recruited by a variety of schools, and then Wisconsin came into the picture. Talked to them, met the staff, met the players, felt like I really fit in great with the culture and the guys here. You're going to be around that whole group a lot. So if you're going to be, you better like the guys you're going to be around, because you're going to spend a lot of time with them. So I really like that group, like that O-line group, and felt like it was the right place for me. And, running the ball is obviously something we did a lot at a small school, so felt like it was a great fit.
Yeah, it's interesting too. When you first came to Wisconsin, were you a guard? Have you played them all while you were there?
Yeah, I played every single one while I was there. Played everything but left tackle in the game, even like extra tight end. So get a little versatility on the resume, which is good. It's always fun to line up. Maybe I'll catch a pass this time. Never did, but it was good. I think it really gave me a better overall understanding of how to play football, what the guys next to me need, what I need from them, and how to complement my teammates so we can be better as a group.
Tackle eligible, certainly a big man's dream there, catching those touchdown passes. But I got to ask you a question about this. My team is the Philadelphia Eagles. I live just outside of Philadelphia. There's a guy named Jason Kelce that just retired, might be going down as the best center of all time. Now, you got a little kinship with him here. Talking about the 3-cone drill, you actually beat his time here. He's thought to be one of the best movers of all time as an offensive lineman. How did you get ready for that 3-cone drill? And my goodness, you beat his number here, Tanor.
Yeah, obviously short speed quickness is always something I prided myself on having. So really just getting the pattern down, an offensive line play, you really don't run a lot of 3 cones while on the field. So it's a little different kind of movement, a little different kind of steps, but getting the footwork down, once I got it down, I really felt really comfortable about, what I was going to do, just making sure I did it at the combine. And then to see the result I got there was awesome, and to ever be mentioned in the same sentence as one of the all-time greats is a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you spent all this time here at Wisconsin, right? And you're leaving, but boy, is the Big Ten going to look a little different next year, isn't it? What was the buzz like when all of this was going on this year? What was it like? Were you going like, damn, I'm glad I'm out of here because this is over the top?
It's crazy. You like look at it. It's like, damn, it's closer to the Big 20 now than the Big 10. But it's crazy. I mean, it's huge. It's good for the conference. I think it'll really, bring a lot of better competition in. And I think it'll be great, but it's going to be different. It's going to look a lot different than it ever has. And I think, flying all the way to the West Coast is going to be a little different for all these teams. The time adjustment, if you're going all the way from the East all the way to the West, we'll see how that works out. I think that's probably the biggest concern with a lot of the guys there. But I think it'll be really, really good for the Big Ten overall.
Tanor, taking a look at the changing landscape in college football, a lot of new rules coming in, which includes the NIL. Now, you were there and probably participated in that. We always like to say you got to take care of your offensive linemen. Talk about the NIL structure of college football now moving forward in that changing landscape.
Yeah, it's really different. I think a lot of guys come in and the transfer portal is way more abundant than it used to be. When you came in, you came with a group of 20 guys and, probably 15 of them would be there by the end of your senior year. Now guys, if they're not loving the playing time they get, they feel like they can get paid more somewhere else. That's kind of where they feel like they can get the best opportunity for them and their families. They'll go capitalize on that. So it's different. I think locker room wise, you're seeing a lot more turnover and a lot of older guys, if you're lacking in a spot, we'll just go get a guy that can play right now, maybe rather than developing the young guys as much. But I think it's a common thing pretty much everywhere. And it's different, but I think, for the player-wise, putting guys in the right spots, getting guys in the situations they want to be in, it benefits them in the long run.
So how did it work? Are you the only football player in the family? Do you come from a long line of football players? And were you always on the offensive line even through high school? This was you knew where you were going to be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, I played both ways in high school. So played pretty much everything on defense except for safety. So that was fun. And then I played offensive line. So really knew that offensive line was probably going to be where I was at in college. Just had to get a little bigger. Started off at like 220 in high school. So had to gain quite a bit of weight, but obviously it went pretty well. And then I have a little brother that plays high school football right now, so hopefully he's on the same track. I know he really enjoys playing. And then my mom played D1 basketball at UW Milwaukee, so I think that's probably where I get some of that athleticism. And Dad played D3 baseball. I probably wanted to bring that up.
Look at that legacy action here. So maybe more and more Bortolinis here that are going to go to Wisconsin. I'm always fascinated here, Tanor, by the actual draft process itself, in particular at the Combine. Did you meet with a lot of football teams? Did you get asked some interesting questions? And how was your overall thought process throughout the Combine and how it leads going into the NFL draft?
Good. I mean, it's a really long week while you're there, and they kind of make it challenging on you mentally, so you're kind of tired by the time you have to do all the workouts, because the last thing you do is the workout. A lot of meetings, a lot of interactions. The medical day is a really long day, but it was a really good opportunity to kind of have teams get to know me more as a person, get more comfortable with me, see if I fit in well with them, their culture, their beliefs. And I think I really enjoyed that. I think I did well with all of that. And then the testing. I mean, it's a really long week. I think they set it up to be that way. So it's not where you can just come in, destroy the testing, and then get interviewed. You got to do all the hard stuff first and then do what you can to do. But yeah, really enjoyed that Combine process.
Yeah, the Combine's got to be a trip, right? Because you always got to be wondering, like, what do they want me to, why are they asking me this? What's going on? Like, how do you even prepare for that interview? Because it could, a lot of times it could come from left field and you're like, what is going on here? What was it like trying to prep for that?
I mean, you can only prep for so many questions. At the end of the day, you're going to get some of them that you've never heard, catch you off guard. Like, I think some of the guys were like, how many basketballs can you fit on a school bus? I didn't get that one, but I was like, I don't know how I would even answer that. Like, what do you say? What do you say? What's the right answer? I mean, it's just things like that. Like, you can only prepare yourself for so much. And at the end of the day, I don't know what the purpose of that is, but it has to mean something to somebody. I mean, I don't know.
Tanor, going to the next. That's a great question. That's a great question and a great answer.
What is the answer? Now I got to look it up. Exactly. Now I got to look it up.
Just the up. Big bus, long bus, short bus, double-decker bus, all those additives in there. But getting ready to be in the NFL, what are you working on now from the college game into the program? Is it getting bigger? Is it getting faster? Is it getting stronger? Are there techniques that you have to worry about now? How are you doing that in the process of getting drafted here?
I think, film study's been a really big part of it. you watch the NFL tape, the NFL game, you're watching guys that are the best at what they do. So, you go from being in college where everybody is good to where now everybody was the best at what they did in college, and they've gotten even better. So really learning the inside out, the details of the game, working with Duke, he brought up a lot of really small details that you don't think may be the biggest factors, but all of a sudden you're going against some of the best, like Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, and the tiniest of things matter. An inch on your hand placement makes the biggest difference in the world. So really focusing on, secondary moves, initial sets, what guys are really looking to do. It's been a really interesting change, I would say, especially in the speed of play and the level of play. But it's something I'm really excited about.
Looking back here on your 4 years here, Tanor, what would you say, what was the toughest defense that you faced? Like when you knew it was going to make you better, but it was probably the most challenging defense every year that you had to go up against?
I would say probably the Ohio State defense. We've played on the past 2 seasons I've been here. And both times have been really good. Had a lot of really very talented players on that side of the ball, and honestly both sides of the ball. And I think that makes for a really high caliber game where it's going to be tough, but the competition is going to be really good. You're going to be better for it. And if you really want to play in the NFL, those are the guys you're going to have to be going against week in, week out. So I think it's really good preparation for that.
When you think about Wisconsin, Tanor, obviously it's running backs, it's offensive linemen, it might be Barry Alvarez, but the one thing that we do know before the start of the fourth quarter, when jump around comes on, we always see the skill position guys getting after it. How do the big men react when jump around is playing at Camp Randall?
We love it. I mean, I always love when Camp Randall gets going. You get some juice in there. Jump around always brings that. For us, if I'm playing, I'm usually too tired to be doing that. The young guys are all about it, but they'll be jumping around. When I was younger, I was about it, but now that I'm older, I'm like, I can't be spending energy on this. But the skilled guys, I know they're big fans of it, and it's great. I think as long as it gets the energy going, that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, I'm laughing because it's usually the guys that don't have any mud on their uniform doing it. It kind of works out like the big old lineman going, "Oh hell no, we ain't got time for this here, my man."
Now, we've got some guys on crutches. All of a sudden, they're jumping around. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
That's great.
People getting all excited there at the right time. By the way, we can't let you get out of here. NCAA tournament right now, we were talking a little bit before we came on the air. Is your bracket, Tanor, already busted? Is that true?
Yeah, I picked Auburn to win. So obviously, if anybody else has been following that, it hasn't gone very well. That sucked. But it is what it is. Still fighting for my other Final Four spots. Got Creighton, Houston, and the UNC. So they're still alive. So we got some hope, but it really hurts to lose your champion in the first round. I will say.
Look, we know he's impartial right there. He didn't take Wisconsin to go all the way through, so the man is actually breaking it down as we speak. We love to see that, but also thanks for joining us this morning. That's Tanor Bortolini, superstar offensive lineman for the Wisconsin Badgers, heading into the NFL draft. Thanks again, Tanor. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back to close it all down next right here on The Early Line.